Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC 283. This one's on the prelims at welterweight. We got Warlley Alves taking on Nicolas Dalby. Dalby going to have a 2.5 inch advantage in reach. They are the same height. Dalby is older, 38 years old. Alves, 32, but he's been in the UFC since like 2014, 2013. So hard to believe he's only 32, but yeah, he's been here for a minute. But I suppose I will start with Nicolas Dalby. He is coming off of a win against Claudio Silva. That one was in London. So Dalby lived and trained in London for a period, I believe. I know he fought in Cage Warriors, was a Cage Warriors champ. So that he was basically the hometown guy there, and he gets dominated on the ground in the first round. Silva, 40 years old. I think it's like at the end of the line for him. Doesn't have a fight booked. He might be retired. But yeah, he still manages to take him down twice and control him for much of the first round. Get some ground and pound. Wasn't able to get the submission, but looked good in the second round. Ends up taking his back early, but Dalby does a good job, turns into the choke, and then Silva was just completely out of gas. Dalby didn't look great by any stretch, but Silva just completely gassed out. He was able to win. Before that, against Tim Means, gets lured into a brawl. Doesn't look great in that one. I mean, I'll just go over it stylistically with Dalby. Keeps a wide kickboxing stance, bouncy, fast hands, good striking. He's hittable, but he tends to have a high work rate. A little bit inconsistent, though. It's just like you never know which Dalby you're going to get. Like technically he's pretty sound. He's got good weapons. He's got good offensive wrestling at opportune times and against lesser wrestlers. He's got good get-up ability when he needs to, but he can also get taken down. He has good striking, but not necessarily a lot of power, in a lot of these fights, and it's especially evident in the Tim Means fight. He'll land like a nice combination, like 3 or 4 strikes, but that one hook that Tim Means just sits down on clearly wins the exchange. And that was just kind of the story in that fight. Tim Means was just better everywhere, really battered him. He does this weird thing with his breathing. So if you go and you watch these fights, he's not gassed, but he is getting older. So I mean, the cardio is something to watch. But his cardio is typically pretty good. But anyways, in that Tim Means fight, just really pushes the pace, and Tim Means was just answering with more impactful shots. Was a step ahead in the wrestling. Was a step ahead in the clinch. I believe that Dalby was actually favored in that one. I think I picked Dalby. Really bad pick on my part. Tim Means was just perfectly built for that fight. And against Daniel Rodriguez, I made sure to watch that one this morning before I made this video. Wanted to save it for last just to make sure that it actually was a bullshit decision. I think it was pretty bad. I would give round 1 and 2 to Rodriguez, and then round 3, Dalby was maybe able to steal it, but kind of the same deal, Like, he played around at range in that one and was landing, but when Rodriguez would land in close with some of these hooks, he was just landing way heavier. Stung him right at the end of the fight with one of those left hooks. So, he doesn't wear power shots all that well. The fight before that against Jesse Ronson gets dropped with a left hook, gets choked out. Jesse Ronson ends up popping for performance-enhancing drugs after that, but yeah, Dalby been around for a minute. Definitely a scrappy veteran. Has some good wins in Cage Warriors and in the UFC, but getting up there in age, and definitely has the tools to win fights. It's just, I don't know, both these guys inconsistent. And so for Warlley Alves, definitely a fast starter. Starts all of his fights just about really fast, just crashes in and immediately looks for the takedown. He's good at getting takedowns off of caught kicks. I think that is definitely going to be live here. Dalby does tend to throw a lot of kicks, but in his last time out, he did lose to Jeremiah Wells, who was very underrated. Jeremiah Wells definitely a hammer, so no harm there. Before that, gets a quick win against Munir Lazzez, kind of stole the hype from him there. I mean, I don't think he was being a little bit overhyped. Lazzez was, but local guy in Abu Dhabi, that was a Fight Island card, co-main. Crowd was definitely on his side. Limited crowd because it was a pandemic fight, but yeah, Warlley Alves just comes in and steals the hype there and wins that one easily. But the thing with Warlley Alves has always kind of been win some, lose some. Very good, very powerful striking. good kicks that he throws. The body kicks and the leg kicks are the best. He does hunt for these head kicks a little bit too much. But the problem is he really just tends to either impose his will early or he gasses out. He has lost a lot when he jumps up in competition. If you're looking for a fight to, really expose the vulnerabilities in Alves' game, I mean, there's multiple fights to do that, but the James Krause fight is, I think, if Dalby is going to win this fight, I think that is the best game plan to go with. Krause, work the body a lot, just wear on that already limited gas tank. Alves is going to wear on it himself with these spinning attacks and these big motions. Throws everything with intent, but, I mean, listen, even when he's tired, because in some of these fights he gasses out, and he's super tired. Against Alan Joban, perfect example. That was forever ago, but he gasses out in like 3 minutes and was just exhausted for much of the fight, but he's still landing with a lot of intent. But, yeah, I mean, the hometown thing is going to be a factor here, but he has lost in Brazil. It's a mixed bag in Brazil. The last time he did fight in Brazil was against Randy Brown. Got caught in a triangle there after having success in the first round. I mean, I think Randy Brown is game. And, yeah, that's just kind of the thing with Warlley Alves, man. Just a lot of power, but limited gas tank. And when he does go to the ground, the one thing I don't like is he has good wrestling, very heavy on top, but he doesn't work in a whole lot of ground and pound. He just kind of fishes for the sub. And I could see the decision really getting away from him in this one if he gasses out. And so, for this one, man, this is a really tough fight to pick for me. I mean, I tried to watch like every fight from these guys. I watched like at least 7 fights and just cannot decide. But I'm going to go with Warlley Alves. Just going to lean on the fact that Dalby doesn't seem to wear this power all that well. I think if he gets lured into a brawl, Alves is going to land something heavy and either parlay that knockdown into a submission or just get the knockout outright. But if he doesn't, and he wins the first round, there might be a good live betting opportunity on Dalby, just kind of seeing how it looks. Because if Dalby can get out of the first round and Alves does his signature just energy depletion in the first round, you got to imagine that he was doing something that Dalby was able to survive. But then Dalby 38, man, it is such a tough fight to pick for me. I'm just going with Warlley Alves for the power and what I've seen from Dalby's chin. I don't want to call him chinny, but doesn't wear the power shots all that well. And, yeah, man, it's not much. We look at the odds here. Money has been coming in on Warlley Alves, but he opened with plus odds. So we see here on DraftKings, minus 125 for Warlley Alves now, plus 105 for Dalby. We'll see how this goes. The over 2.5 surprises me. I think if anybody's winning this fight by decision, it's going to be Dalby. He's just going to be busier. I expect Alves to be slower in the third round, but I mean, he's still only 32. We never know if he is adding layers to his game still at this point, whereas Dalby kind of a finished product, or, if Alves is watching some of his earlier fights, trying to watch it more. But I think we know what we got in both of these guys, and I can just go on all day, man, just kind of seesawing on this one. But the pick outright is Warlley Alves, ever so slightly. Don't really think I'm looking to bet this one. If anything, I might look for that live bet opportunity on Dalby, but that's just going to be a play it by how it plays out, just to see how it goes. So, thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe, and take it easy.